Awesome. Hey, welcome in. Welcome in. My name is Clifford Starks. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I want to go over a little bit about what the fighter's formula is exactly. The fighter's formula has helped me and hundreds of people along the way, and I'm planning on it helping millions and even 1 billion. I'm that crazy. But as I've gone through my journey, the fighter's formula is a place where dreams become reality. And as I've gone through it, I've realized like we all have these big dreams, we have these big goals, and sometimes they get beaten out of us. And luckily enough, I didn't allow my dreams to get beaten out of me. In fact, I created strategies, and strategy meaning vision. And with those visions, I started creating realities. And I want to support others in doing the same thing. And so the fighter's formula is a blend of principles that I've used consistently throughout my journey so that I could crush it in my life. And now I use them to crush it in business too. I'm constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly figuring things out. And looking back at my journey, one of the biggest accomplishments I made, I got in the UFC in less than a year. And what was so interesting about that, my own coach who was coaching me through the process didn't even know it could happen, didn't know it was possible. And he was even shocked when we got there. When we signed the contract, he was still shocked by it. So that just shows how big the situation is. And I wasn't the first one who got in. He's gotten about 17 other fighters in the UFC before me. So I thought that was really, really cool. And as I started looking back at my journey, there were certain things that I was following on a regular basis and certain things that were getting me to where I needed to go. Now, as I look back, looking at my journey and other people's journey, other successful people's journey, there is a sequence and a process. And so I just want to share my process with you. And just to put it really simple, give you the 50,000 foot view, life comes down to getting three things right, essentially. It's getting your mind right. And when I say getting your mind right, being able to critically think and bring things together faster than if you don't know what to do. So the mind is like knowing how to connect the dots and knowing how to connect them at a really, really rapid pace. And then it's getting your heart right, absolutely loving what you do and going all in on what you do. As I've gone through my journey, I realize if I don't love what I'm doing, it makes it really, really hard to do. And so I'm going to show you some strategies on how you can get through your process, because there are strategies where you can run through walls. But I also say you can dig under a wall, climb over a wall, go around a wall. There's a million ways to do this. So we're going to use the way that works best for you. And then the third is getting your skills right. And the cool thing about your skills is they are actually inherent in you, but since you are you, sometimes you don't know it. And so we're going to get really crystal clear on what your skills are, what value you bring to the journey. And it's a lot of fun because when you know what it is that you do and you know how to express it and communicate it effectively, life gets really, really nice for you and really nice for the people that you're serving. So I look forward to bringing this together with the fighter's formula, sharing with you my journey and giving you the steps and the strategies that can support you in yours.
It's amazing, bro. I was up here just, always blown away, man. To go for your coach to not even to
Yeah.
have your coach people before you and then not believe in you, and you make it in less time than probably most of them. That's pretty amazing. So your formula that you came up with here, it will help you get there. So I got critically thinking is number one. Number three is get skills right. What's number two? Just to make sure everybody has that down if they need to take
Yeah.
notes.
Getting your heart in place. Because if your
Okay.
heart's in place, nothing else matters.
Okay. So, you know, just looking back on it, man, like I mean, you try to simplify things. What I take out of this right now is that, like, if and I've been in business for a long time, so I get it. Like, if you overthink things or you make things too complicated, you don't go nowhere. So I take this as simplify yourself, your process is literally
Yeah.
simplify it. And that's like I would think if I was a person, it would have some big formula with like 20 things on it to go to the UFC. But you literally that's the thing. It's something in math called break it down to the simplest fraction or something like that, the
Yep.
simplest form or whatnot. and it applies here. I mean, I'm just shocked. So critically thinking, I'm a fighter as well. I get it. So you have to figure out a way. As you said, you knew you wanted to go to the UFC in a year. Was that your plan? I want to go here in a year. You said that out loud,
That was
right?
my plan. Yeah, I said that out loud, and I got the weird look from my coach.
Okay, okay, okay. So
Yeah,
powerful thing, and that's why I'm excited to work with you, and why everybody should be. I mean, once you set your mind on something, you pretty much get there most of the time, right?
absolutely. And the
All right,
the interesting thing too, even if I don't get there the first try, I'm way further than I would have been if I didn't even attempt it in the first place.
right, right. But you did something key here. I want people to really think about. You did that. I mean, you went to the UFC
Yeah.
in under a year. That's all I need to know
Yes.
right now. I mean, honestly. So I
Yep.
don't expect you to be perfect, but you're pretty close. So again, that's why we're working with us, working with you, and that's why I'm saying this is powerful. I mean, it really is. This is not no. This video is real. That's what I like about me and you. You're just real. This is just real talk. Okay.
Yep.
So then you said get health right.
Mm-hmm.
Get your heart right. No, you're gonna get your heart right. Your heart right.
Get your heart right. Mm-hmm.
So going back to critically thinking now, real quick, what does that mean for you? Like they have a goal to have their business or whatever their goal is to make $200,000 in a year, right? Let's say they had a goal like let's get my income up $200,000 in a year. How could you directly relate the way you had to process before you even start working on your craft? I guess you had to think about that part before you even start fighting, right?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is measure what matters. Measure the things that matter. So I'm going to check out a quote real quick, and it's from Archimedes. I just don't want to butcher it, and that's why I'm looking directly for it.
Hmm.
Archimedes quote with leverage.
According to Tony
All right, here we
Margheriti,
go.
the Greek philosopher Archimedes said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world."
So I don't know if you heard from my amazing AI, but I'll speak it out one more time. Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. And so the truth is, we have opportunities, and they're all around us all the time.
Hmm.
But sometimes we don't know which lever to move. We don't know where to move the
Hmm.
lever, and we don't know where the fulcrum is. But when we know
Hmm.
those two things, we start doing some really amazing things, and we can move things that people didn't even think that we could move. So
Right,
my
right.
coach, there was something he didn't see in me, and that's fine because he ended up seeing it. It was interesting because he started seeing it in 5 weeks of working with me.
Hmm. Hmm. That's crazy. Yeah, that's again, you nailed it on the head, man. It makes sense because, like, and you guys don't know, like, working with us in coaching, our coaching program. I mean, this is a lot because it's saying to you basically, like, when I go into a business, I've been into a lot of them, and they're missing the fundamental things that I see. Like, as a marketer, has helped and work with $1 million clients now, literally, and seeing them go from making this amount, making 1 million or whatever to making 40. I know 40 million. This is what you guys are clear there. 40 million. I saw that type of growth. And so I know from that experience, what I go into a business now, I know what you're not doing, and I know what you
Mhm.
need to do, right? So again, hiring somebody to coach them. I mean, and anything basketball, it's like we can see what you can't see, and that's going to help you put your energy into the right place because you don't want to wait and be doing the wrong, I would say, fighting technique. Or
Yeah.
if you play basketball, the wrong form on your basketball shot, or this applies to everything, guys. It's just cutting the learning curve down. It sounds like you learned what to work on, what not to work on. Like so,
Oh yeah.
being a fighter again, bro. I mean, is it the jab? What's the most important thing? Because your UFCs to me, it's rough because you are a wrestler, you're a striker. You have to learn. You have to know everything. So
Yep.
I wonder, from my standpoint, what in the heck, you know, give me more about the thinking part before you go into
So
the skills part.
it's interesting because I'll say the most important part is having all three work together
Mm,
in a very systematic way. Because if you like, let's say you have your mind in place, let's say you know everything there is that you need to know what to do. But if your
mhm,
heart's not there, your heart's not there. Even if you have
mhm,
your mind and your heart or your skills in place. But let's
mhm,
say you have your heart and your skills in place. Like you have the heart, you have the passion, and you have the skills to get the abilities done. if you don't have the mind on how to utilize those skills in the most effective way, I think it was Albert Einstein who said, if you have a fish try and climb a tree and you have a bird try and swim under the water, they're both going to look stupid. Yeah.
Sorry, man. That was coming out
Yeah.
hard, bro.
Yeah. That's the way that it goes. And then if you have, let's say you have your mind and your heart in place, but you don't have the skills, well, then it doesn't matter. Like, you have the mental game, you have the fortitude, you have the heart, but you don't have the skills. Well, now you're in trouble. And so it's really aligning those three together so that you can actually be efficient and optimized.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I have to say, it makes so much sense. I can't tell you. This is why it makes so much sense to me. As somebody that's been in the ring, and I remember I fought against a wrestler before. Right? I tell you the story already, Cliff. But a wrestler got me because I wasn't ready for what he had, and I was on the ground, and I was like, man, I'm glad he's my friend. We're play fighting, but but literally speaking, when he said make all three work in unison, I'm thinking that makes sense. And so and so this is time to kind of, we can talk for a long time, Cliff, about the different things. You guys got to definitely stay in tune with us, because I got so many things to ask them that are going to be questions that a fighter would ask. That's not quite as experienced, but has my own talents in different areas. But that's one of mine too. It's like I can get out a little bit. So I respect what you're saying a lot, Cliff. And to kind of hit it on the head is to the boxer, and this goes into what I call use your heart right, kind of. When McGregor fought against Floyd Mayweather, right? I'm just wondering, he had the heart to jump into a ring with a boxer, but I'm wondering. I always thought to myself, what in the world is going on? Like, how do you feel about a boxer fighting a UFC guy? This is something kind of off the subject a little bit, because I want to know. This is important. Would a boxer have a chance? Because the UFC guys go to the boxers world a lot, right, and fight boxing. So they take away all your other things, right, and making you use these now, right? Could a boxer go to the UFC and do well? Period. Do you think?
Odd 99.9% no. And the reason I say that is because I don't like using the word puncher's chance. This is why. A boxer does have a proficient punch. So it's not just a puncher's chance. It is an elite level punch that they have. So they can catch you with an elite level punch. They can knock you out.
Right.
But the odds of being able to do that when you have to look at kicks and knees and elbows and wrestling and all that other stuff, not very likely.
Yeah. And working with us, you guys didn't see what just happened. Do you guys out there? Do you see what just happened when you got two brilliant minds coming together? We just critically thought just now, and we used our heart, right? It's like literally, you could be, I want to use the word stupid, but it'd be pretty stupid if you're a boxer and not know that. I'm a boxer. I'm critically thinking. I know if I fight against a UFC guy, it's a certain things I got to watch out for, and that's critically thinking and not having get your heart right. Get your heart right. I don't care how much heart I got. I got a heart for days, guys. I got a heart. I'll challenge you. I'll help you. I'll come to your aid, and I got your back, right? But I got enough heart. But I'm critically thinking enough not to know, not to jump in there with a UFC fighter. So that's my little 2 cents. It's like, you got to be smart out here, guys. It's like, know your strengths and weaknesses, and that's what Cliff did. That's what you're telling me. You did all this thinking. Before you got in there, and then you had to get your heart. What does get your heart right mean to you?
Yeah, getting your heart right is asking yourself, what the fuck do I want? Like, straight up. And I say this because I say this from experience. This is why. My mom was a hospice nurse, so I got to see people on their deathbed. I got to see that. And people rarely do what they actually want to do. They're actually doing what they think everybody wants them to do. And so they're not even playing at their full potential, because it's kind of scary to play at your full potential and say, I want this, I want that, I deserve this. And then figuring out how to get it too. I'm not saying beat your chest and tell the world what you want and it's going to just give it to you. But I'm saying there's a level of leadership. And that's what I do love about mind, heart, and skill. When one knows themselves, their leadership goes up. They go to another level. They're able to communicate at a better level. They can communicate with others. They can communicate with themselves, and they can communicate with their environment. And when you get into that space, life just starts working for you. And so my whole mission is to help life work for you, because I've had coaches on my journey help life work for me as well.
Right. And you guys don't know, we have a boot camp where we're going to do live in person soon, and we also have a coaching program, right? That I mean, I love what I'm hearing, and we kind of coach each other a lot, man. But just being real, like this stuff's going to work for you guys. I'm a guy I believe that I take everybody on that I work with, even when I coach my son in basketball or anything in life, man. Like whatever I teach works because and I get what you're saying because you have to simplify it. He broke
Yep.
down how he got to the UFC and went pro within 1 year. So we're gonna do the same thing in your business, and I love it because I know we can help you for sure. I'm the
100%.
systems guy. I'm also the guy that does the coaching too, but I'm the marketing coach. We add something different to the table. But as you guys can see right here, we're clearly thinking right now, literally speaking, right in your face and breaking down boxing, UFC, and business all at the same time, right? So
Yep.
basically, right now, that don't get your butt in the ring with a UFC fighter if you just know if you boxing, and and you got to be smart enough. You got to get your heart right. Know what you want. This applies to real estate. I sell real estate at a high level, guys. What I wanted was to sell houses. I wanted to sell more houses than anybody, and I was able to really critically think about how to do that. And I did it at a high level, guys, because I thought about how to do it differently than most agents, right? How do I make myself different? And I figured out a plan and I executed it and I was making a land. Man, we killed it. Okay. I've done this over and over again. So critically thinking is important before you jump into anything. But the most important thing is understanding that you might not even know what to think about critically unless you go through the experience or have a coach. Cliff had a coach that
Yep.
didn't even believe in it. I mean, crying out loud. I mean, so that's what our job is to we know which if I make this X amount over here, I can help you get there faster than you can on your own. And what better to have than a UFC fighter that's made it that far and a US vet with a master's degree that's done this thing. We help each other. And the last part of this is get your skills right. I mean, now that you've done all that, you know, if you spend more time on getting your skills right, was this the longest part of the process for you?
The process is actually not as long as people think that it has to be. That's the interesting part. The reason my coach started believing in me, he started believing that it was actually possible within 5 weeks. And even when we did get there, he was like, how did we get here? Like he was in awe. He was shocked. And I get it because I've shocked myself before and I've shocked others. Skills don't take that long to develop if you know what you're developing. But if you don't know what you're developing, it feels like an eternity. It's really, really hard. And that's where the coaching, that's where the consulting, that's where having the right team that's got your back, it makes that whole process a lot easier because you're in your own head. And when you're in your own head, you sometimes can't see the skills that you have. You already have them. They're blaring in front of you. I didn't even, when I got into the UFC and then I went into business, I still did not know how to effectively articulate what it was that I brought to the table. And I also had to realize I only need to effectively articulate one or two things, not the whole gambit of things. It's too much for a person's mind. I talk about those one or two things that make me different than anybody else, and that's all I need. I don't need to tell them 20 or 30 things. They really don't even care about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. It just relates to what what I know is that, for example, in business, I know one of the most important things that people need to do is build a solid list, right? That's something that's been around forever. So get your skills right means that literally, you can spend it all you want. You can say, I'm going to do social media marketing, I'm going to run some paid ads, or I'm going to go out here and go to networking events. But it all comes down to building your list. People now hype it up like, AI before whatever, man. But literally, when I come in, so as I look at you, it's the same thing. It's like know what to work on. And I get it, Cliff. I wish I had known you when I was 12 years old. I probably would have been in the UFC too. I don't
Yeah.
know, whatever you started.
100%. Well, it looks like the DeJarvis has frozen. There he is. Can you hear me?
It froze up. We had to come back on that. I had to get the internet trying to slow us down, brother. No, I missed something. How'd you get into your first fight in life? Like, what made you? I know I missed something good.
My first fight of life.
Yeah, what made you get into fighting? Yeah.
It was so hard. I wanted the challenge. I wanted a challenge. And the cool thing, I wanted a like my mission is to teach people how to love. And
It's gonna be
we
good.
can all have a conversation about that in another time because I know that is confusing as heck for a lot of people. Like, wait a minute, you're fighting and you're teaching people how to love.
I'm like,
It,
I love it though.
yeah, it will actually make sense to people who actually get to know who I am. I love to compete. And competition is what better competition than seeing who you are in a cage with a person who has high level skills. Like, what better competition than that? Now you really
Right.
get to
Yeah.
see who you are.
Yeah. And what's funny, guys, is when I first saw Cliff in the ring, I said, "Oh my God, he's in there!" I was like, "It's a real UFC fighter." All right,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and he's moving. So so it's just an honor. And I think you guys watching this video, like this is an ordinary, everyday occurrence to me. How many times do you guys see a boxer or UFC professional in your face on video explaining to you how you can help your business grow? I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, what are you waiting for? There's a boot
yeah,
camp to sign up for. And like that's what we go. And so you get a really interesting blend here because we take the fighting principles for real. And I love it, Cliff. Thank you for real for breaking all
yeah,
that down. I took great notes for our viewers too and stuff like that. They want to reach out, but man, I want to make sure we hit the points, but I don't want to give them too much. Literally
yeah.
speaking, you gave them a lot today. This is a lot to digest to me. So, once you get your skills right, from there, once you got your skills right, um, and you worked on your skill set, I guess, when did you know you were ready to get in the ring?
Oh,
Well,
all right. Now, either business owners are going to love me or they're going to hate me for this one. You know when you're ready when that cage door shuts and then you get your head raised? You
Oh,
don't
it's that simple?
know. You don't know.
Yeah,
Like there's a
everything's
saying called
simple.
just in time learning.
Yeah.
And sometimes you come in with a game plan. You come in ready to
Mhm,
go. You're doing your
mhm,
things and it doesn't go to plan. That's just the way it
mhm.
happens sometimes. Like sometimes
Yeah,
things don't go to plan because they have a game plan too. So
right.
so some of my best fights have been when I had to adjust the game plan. That's where I
Yeah.
show up my best. And that's that mind, that critical thinking, like, okay, things aren't going to plan. What do you do now? And
Mhm,
that's where you learn the most lessons when you can say, oh,
mhm.
wow, I was able to adjust when things didn't go my way. Because sometimes
Yeah,
they won't, even when you do everything the way you were supposed to. Some of my
yeah.
lessons have been sometimes I don't get my hand raised. And I learned a lot from those ones. Like, okay, I
Mhm.
need to adjust here, do this, change this, and then go back to the drawing board. Sometimes I get my
Yeah.
hand raised and I'm like, okay. And I
You know,
still have to adjust and constantly be ready for that just in time learning because you never know when it's going to come.
and that happens and you got in business too. You guys got to be able to make adjustments. Man, boxing is it's funny how much this relates to business. I didn't even
Mm.
realize how much it related, Cliff, until I would start talking. But
Yeah.
geez, I mean, when your Facebook ads stop working, literally speaking, guys, we're spending 4, 5, 10 grand a month on Facebook ads. All of a sudden, and that's how you guys pay. If you guys get reliant on something like that, you can your whole life you can base it off of because you're having success that's going on for a year or two, and you're doing the same method. But when you only have one way of driving traffic and making your money, when that thing dries up, all your money stops. So that's why I always tell people to have a different ways of driving traffic to their business and their websites because you never know. But that's when that making adjustments comes into play, and having someone like me to say, "Hey, this has happened to me before," because you're gonna
Mhm.
be like, you're gonna know what to do. You're gonna be trying to figure it out, or you may hire the wrong person. I went through that with my own businesses, right? And I had to figure out what adjustments to make on the ad. So what I'm saying is that it all seems like it comes back down to business. The
Yep.
whole principle with fighting and the adjustments. And so again, this is a whole another video, Cliff, because it is. making adjustments, like as a fighter. Like, I'm gonna ask you one thing, but I wrote this down for our so guys. Tune in again, because it's gonna get real good. We're gonna go inside the ring and a boxer's mentality and show you how that applies to your life and how we can help you. But your coach, when you were losing or when you won more than you lost, right? So that's
Mhm.
awesome. But like, did you always listen to your coach? I mean, or did you like branch off, somewhat, or were you pretty good at following instructions?
Both. Yeah. So, and I've had enough matches to say that this is true. There were times I listened to my coach and I won because I listened to my coach. There's times I've listened to my coach and I've lost because I listened to my coach. There's times I didn't listen to my coach and I won because of it. There's times I didn't listen to my coach and I've lost because of it. And there's one principle where I talk about having extreme responsibility. Just saying, I'm going to take the action that I'm going to take, and I'm going to bear the results of whatever that may be.
Wow.
That's what happens in life sometimes. Your coach has your back, and so do you. And so it's important that it aligns and that it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, figure it out. That's what I always say. Take an action and then
Yeah.
expect the responsibility of what that action is going to occur.
Yeah. And then what I'll say is that I've learned. So yeah, so I agree. First of all, that was powerful. I mean, that was real too. I was like, because you guys watch boxing all the time, and I know, I mean, I literally have seen people not obey the coach, like in boxing. Like, I listen to my coach for the most part, but sometimes sometimes you can't make the adjustments he's asking for. 'Cause
Mhm.
it's too much pain or something. You can think the throwing out being. Sometimes it just don't work out like you think it's gonna work out. But the point is that it's good for me to have Cliff in my corner because I know you guys can't trust your coach, but I can honestly say that as he talks to me and we help each other, right? I know he puts a lot of time and care into caring about his opinion and making sure that it's good for me in my life to listen to him, literally. So when you can't trust every coach. And by the way, I'm not really a coach. I'm a consultant, guys, because and so is Clifford, right? What that means is like we're speaking from a perspective of coaches out here are a lot of them that don't give good advice, right? My advice comes off of I have a marketing company, we have a coaching program, but I've been successful inside of my own businesses, not just one, but businesses. So when I run your ads and when I tell you something, it's based off of me spending my own money, my own 5 grand a month on ads myself, you know, me having to say that, and now me being scared with my own money so that as I'm working with clients now, I'm taking care of you guys the same way. It's not like you hire somebody that's just went to school, and it's like a lot of people don't even have not done business, but they just got into coaching and marketing, right? To me, I made sure I didn't do that because I know I couldn't have been good for the people like that. I'm a much better consultant. What that means is that I actually help businesses more than I help individual people. But now we're gonna go help individual people. But I've went into corporations, companies with employees, had an office in there because I consulted for so long with them, and I work with the owners and make their business better, their marketing programs, right? So
Mhm.
I know what you're saying, bro. That's all I got to say. I know what you just said. Some people can't dissect this, but I'm helping you guys dissect it. That's watching this video. You're dissecting someone that is brilliant. That's how he got into the UFC. It wasn't off of any channel. Like how many people can go to UFC in less than a year or less? I mean, I know that sounds absolutely mind blowing to me. I'm sorry. I'm just real. That's real. So I'm real, guys. I'm USA. I'm a U.S. Air Force vet. I'm not trying to fluff his ego or. I'm just telling you guys the truth. That's rare. All right. So again, man, I don't want to overdo it, Cliff, but I want to make sure
Yeah.
that they come back and keep coming back because we're gonna get some really cool topics. What you think, man? We can keep this going and really
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about some
No,
powerful
I
things.
appreciate it. And ultimately, I just wanted to give you all an intro to the Fighters Formula, what it's about. And
Yeah.
I even broke those pieces down because there's several other pieces to it. But we want to create a blend where you create the life that you want. This is about your life. This is about your journey. I want to see you win. That's the name of the
Hmm.
game. I want to see you win so that you can enjoy your life, so that you can have the freedoms that you want in your life as an entrepreneur and as a business owner.
Right. And then their next step is the first step in the fighters formula to go to that to go to the to go to what the event coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have an event coming up October. No, we have one November 8th, and that is a Unicon event. But keep a lookout for us. Stay
Yeah,
consistent.
yeah,
The first
yeah,
thing I would say, actually, join our newsletter. Like,
yes,
join that. And
yeah.
then
It's
from
the
there, because there's going to be plenty of events coming up, and we're going to constantly be growing. You know, as I'm going through
right.
this journey, I want to grow and I don't want to stop. I never want to
Yes,
stop
yeah,
because you're either growing or you're dying. And I'd rather grow
yeah.
than die.
Yeah, and yeah, man, for sure, right? Grow then die. And
Yeah.
I've seen Cliff. Like I had to tell him, man, there's times that he helps people. Okay, so you guys go to www.thefightersformulax.com, thefightersformulax.com, and he has some things he does that like he gets face to face with you guys and gives you guys a little taste of what he can do, right?
Yep.
Without charging you anything. So you guys sign up for that, and you'll be invited to some things. Like I said, he's gonna work with me and work with him on getting that finalized. But yeah, you guys go to that today. Leave your information. Cliff is gonna reach out to you. All right, we're gonna reach out to you. Okay. So
Yep.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for everything you do, Cliff.
Thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate you,
Yeah.
brother.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. You guys take care. See you on the next video.
Take care, everyone.
Let's go.